Recorded Books presents To All Who Call in Truth by Michael Oren. Narrated by Winton. From Virginia Satir, The New People-Making. Adolescents are not monsters. They are just people trying to learn how to make it among the adults in the world, who are probably not so sure themselves. From Rabbi Nachman of Breslov. There may be many lies, but there is only one truth. Prologue. It wouldn't be the first time he'd used his fists, his belt, and car keys, too. They left lavender bruises, cross-hatched scratches, and welts anywhere they landed, especially on the face. He'd learned that in the POW camp where his captors beat him for the flimsiest infractions, yet still he bowed and thanked them. A serious crime, rifling through the garbage, could have cost him his head. And yet he had survived. He returned to a country dazzled by its own victory, an adolescent land where even a damaged vet could start his own business, build a big house, and fill it with art, imported furniture, and the town's prettiest wife. He could have a son to teach the most effective ways to defend himself, the same techniques his captors had once inflicted on him. He never forgot his captors. His walls were decorated with their handicrafts, testaments to their taste as well as their weapons. The deadliest of these was slung in the den where any visitor could view it, lacquer-clad, pleasingly curved. Its blade could slice through any substance softer than metal and effortlessly through a human skull. The sword reminded him of the cruelty of the world, and perhaps also his own. It was a cruelty he had either acquired as a prisoner of war or was born with. He was never quite certain which, only that the violence still roiled inside him. Harnessed, it gave him an advantage on corporate boards and tennis courts. Unleashed, it could easily kill. And kill it might, as life for him became unbearable. The once spry country he once returned to grew up decadent, fat, fractured, and drugged, and his wife and son came to love one another far more than either loved him. He would punish them for that, repeatedly, aiming for the face. He no longer heard the screams for help or the swish of unsheathed steel. The pain, if he felt it, was fleeting. It wasn't the first time he had used his fists. Yet it'd surely be his last. Autumn. Chapter 1. Beneath the castle facade, the costume rack, and random dusty props, his outlines were barely visible. A curved back and a protruding butt that couldn't be hidden was all that Sandy saw curled beneath the curtains. Yet he could feel him there, as palpable as the audience outside. He felt ashamed for the kid and sorry for having to humiliate him this way. But there was no choice. This was just another rung in the ladder of growing up, he consoled himself. Some day at a bar he'd laugh about it. And besides, this was Sandy's job, his duty. "You're going to have to come out of there eventually, son," he said gravely. A whimper, "No." Sandy tugged on his half-knotted tie and folded up his shirt cuffs. He glanced at the watch on his inner wrist. Time was a factor here. It took the school principal, Dr. Steincypher, 10 whole minutes to silence the uproar, long enough for Howard's guidance counselor to try and reason with the kid, but it couldn't last. Any crowd, much less this one, would riot. Of the several options, dismissing the assembly, sending Howard home sick, this alone seemed reasonable. And educational, teaching about resilience and life. Yet Sandy couldn't help speculating what he would have preferred in Howard's place. He remembered a similarly mortifying incident in his own past, that Thanksgiving game when, while being hauled from the field with a corkscrewed leg, he caught sight of his father. That look of withering disappointment still rattled him. But this was a different order of embarrassment. This was devastation of a type attainable only by Howard Weintraub. Overweight and ungainly, with glasses, braces, and zits, he was shunned by classmates who called him Fatso and Pizza Face, and
Sample complete. Ready to continue?